Shadow King Nazaru is back here with a review of Rosario Vampire Chapter 34. Well, as we last left off, Hokuto had just been defeated by Inner Mocha, and now he's starting to wonder how he could possibly lose to someone he deems inferior to him. And Inner Mocha says it was because of his hubris, and she uses her she uses her catchphrase to tell her opponents to learn their place. And Inamoka deduces some monster injected their blood into Hokuto and made him a monster, just like how she did with Skune. Uh, but the difference is that Hokuto was unable to uh, stand against them due to his arrogance and lack of control of his powers. And Mocha continues asking why there was another human at this school when they thought all along that Skune was the first human to ever to ever attend their school. Uh, which the conversation leads to Skune wishing that he and Hokuto could have met differently and been friends. You're still on this, Skune. He's trying to kill everybody. He's acting a bit like a psychopath, trying to commit mass anarchy. Screw it. Uh, Hokuto says defeating him is irrelevant since the barrier is starting to fail and chaos is ensuing in the human world. But fortunately, Kurumu, Mizure, Yukari, and Ruby come to aid. To aid the others preserve the Great Barrier. And they managed to get here thanks to Mikagami, the exorcist, teleporting them there. Uh, and we also see Kurumu trying to comfort Skune with her by rubbing her large breasts on his face. Kurumu, there's a time and place for that. World's about to be destroyed. Not a good time for that. Yukari says that the spelling and casting of barriers depends on the user's strength and because Hokuto was such a powerful person, the Great Barrier has already lost half its power thanks to him. But Yukari believes that the barrier can be saved by transferring all of their monster energy into it. So everybody does exactly that. Hokuto then regains consciousness and starts remembering Skune's desires to be friends and scoffs at it. We see a flashback to him, and he's saying that he's always been alone. He was the bastard child of a rich man, and he grew up in prison. Wow, go figure. He never struck me as someone that's intelligent, well-mannered, and like a valedictorian person. I would have never suspected he's been in prison. But whatever. Uh, then he received a flyer that came out of nowhere that was just flown by the wind to him, advertising about Yokai Academy, and he thought that a place like this could change things for the better for his life. But he learned the sad fact that that's not the case when you go to a school full of monsters, and especially a great deal of them are a bunch of assholes. And because of all this misery, it caused him to desire to destroy the monsters and the human world, and decide to remake it in his own image. And while this is happening, the Great Barrier turns out to be siphoning far more energy from the newspaper club gang than they anticipated. And pretty much most of them have started passing out. And Skune decides he needs to try harder, despite him being severely injured and completely exhausted. But he gets up and tries to feel the barrier, still inspired by Hokuto's belief of making a peaceful academy, despite it being a lie. But he senses that it may not be a lie, and that this might be his true desire, despite Hokuto's protests. Uh, and Hokuto is totally shocked by this and starts laughing, not laughing maniacally like a villain, like laughing like this is a bit ironic. Uh, and starts calling Tsukune naive for trying to refuel the barrier on his own, and approaches him despite the girls telling him to not fight him, but he just brushes them aside. And Hokuto, remembering his promise to Une, and helps refuel the barrier with his own energy. Uh, then Hokuto says that he thinks Tsukune is an interesting person, being a human trying to survive in a monster school, and ponders if they did meet differently, would they have been friends? Which normally I would just say this was just typical Nakanama power stuff, but Rosario Vampire's main theme is about unity, trying to get along with each other and being friends. So I can accept this. So so after the barrier is restored, all the chaos that's happening on Earth passes, but everybody passes out. Then we cut to a few days later, and pretty much everybody's at the hospital, except for Mocha, who's getting her rosary repaired by the exorcist, Mikagami. Then we see that Kiria decides to visit Hokuto, and is shocked that Hokuto opened himself up to Tsukune, and he changed his plan at the last second. Uh, and he says that it's his superiority complex that interested Kiria, and that's why he was the one that made Hokuto into a vampire. Considering he was acting so subservient to Hokuto, I would have never have guessed that. So next plot twist. Uh, Kiria starts injecting more of his blood into Hokuto to make him stronger and make him more sadistic. But he's still impressed and jealous for what Skinny did to Hokuto. Then we cut to another few days later, and it's October 28th, and the school festival is taking place. Well, with everybody celebrating. Ruby informs the gang that Hokuto has disappeared, but Mocha says that it's alright due to Skinny changing Hokuto's way, so they should just have fun. However, Hokuto and Kiri are watching from the horizon from far, and they say that he still hates the school, just a little less thanks to Skune. But he still plans on destroying the school and the human world, and leaves to make some new plans. So yeah, it's pretty good to know that Hokuto is still going to be a villain, because if he just changed his whole philosophy and became this good guy, it would be like the recent chapters of Naruto, which is complete and utter crap. And the chapter finally ends off with Skune and his friends going off to celebrate the school festival. So it's nice to see that that despite all the hardships, this little arc ended on a happy note. So yeah, this was a pretty good story arc, and I can't wait to see what Hokuto is going to be up to next, and just what other trials the newspaper club gang is going to come up to, especially since there's only like 5 more chapters left before the end of season 1. Uh, so it should be really big. So we'll get back to that next time.